Now understand the process of implantation. Now this is uterus, this is the cervix, and this is uterine cavity. Okay. Now what happens? The ovum or developing embryo, it first implants on the surface. As development proceeds, it just goes deeper and deeper. Okay. So like this. Now understand what is the parts of decidua. The part of decidua which is below the developing embryo, this is developing embryo. The part below developing embryo, this is decidua basalis. The part which is covering the embryo, this is decidua capsularis. And the part which is lining rest of the uterine cavity, this is decidua parietalis. Now as development proceeds, what happens is this goes on increasing, and all these they just fuse with each other. Okay, understand this diagram now. See here, this is decidua, this is trophoblast. Now the changes which are occurring in the trophoblast, the outer cells of the trophoblast which are towards the decidua, these cells they lose their boundaries and form a syncytium and form syncytiotrophoblast. Now you know the concept of syncytium from muscle, skeletal muscle. Okay, so that sort of syncytium is formed. So outside there is syncytiotrophoblast, inside there is cytotrophoblast, and then they are forming fetal aspect, while decidua basalis, this is forming maternal aspect. Okay, so now what is chorion levae and chorion frondosum? When the development proceeds, see we have seen here the chorion are nothing but finger like projections which are produced by this by this developing embryo all over. Okay, initially they are produced in decidua basalis as well as decidua capsularis, but as development proceeds, the finger-like projections which are in the capsularis, they won't sustain, and only in the basalis they will proceed. So understand, see these are finger-like projections. Okay, and they are initially all over. Okay, but only in the basal aspect they will remain to form chorion frondosum, and in the capsular aspect they will not they will disappear and form chorion levae. Okay, now what are the changes seen in the trophoblast? We already have seen the trophoblast, it is having a cellular layer initially. This is cytotrophoblast. This cytotrophoblast, which is in the upper aspect, they will lose their boundary and the cells will lose boundary and form syncytium to form syncytiotrophoblast. And in the upper part there is maternal surface, that is decidua. Right, now this decidua contains blood vessels, these are maternal blood vessels. Okay, now as the development proceeds, the cavities they appear within the syncytium. Initially these cavities they are random, but then they arrange themselves radially, and these cavities they are called as lacunae. Okay, then below the cytotrophoblast there is a layer, and this layer is extra embryonic mesoderm. We have seen this is mesoderm, layer of mesoderm, right? So I hope I'll color it differently. So this is mesoderm, right? So understand what are the changes in the trophoblast. The trophoblast initially is in the cellular form, cytotrophoblast. Above that towards decidua, it is forming syncytium, that is syncytiotrophoblast. Then the spaces develop in the syncytiotrophoblast to form lacunae, right? And there is below the cytotrophoblast there is extra embryonic mesoderm. This is pluric extra embryonic mesoderm. Now what are primary villi? This figure is the same figure. I just kept it here like for you to understand. This is the part of decidua and this is trophoblast is same. Now this is the model which we have. This you will have for your examination where students they answer anything. So please understand how to answer this model. You have to identify the part. First you should say this is the model showing primary villi. It shows the part of maternal surface, that is decidua. It shows maternal blood vessels. Now the cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast, you know the cavities which are present in these are lacunae. These are also called as intervillous spaces. Okay, as development proceeds, these maternal blood vessels, they open into the intervillous spaces. This trophoblast has a capacity to eating up. Okay, it will erode the decidua. And it will erode the maternal blood vessels, and they will pour within these intervillous spaces, right? Next is, so these are intervillous spaces, and this is extra embryonic mesoderm. So this is the structure of primary villi. Primary villi, it consists of cytotrophoblast, syncytiotrophoblast with intervillous spaces. Okay, now as the development proceeds, the this somatopluric extraembryonic mesoderm, it will enter within this villi. Now this cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast, they are called as tabaculi. It will enter within it and it will form secondary villi. Now the blood is being poured into the intervillous spaces by maternal blood vessel. As the development proceeds, the fetal circulation starts within the mesoderm, and these fetal vessels, they enter inside the developing villi. So this will form now the tertiary villi. So what is tertiary villi? Presence of fetal blood vessels within the villi will form tertiary villi. Now understand here. So understand here, there is inside there are blood vessels. They are surrounded by surrounded by mesoderm, then cytotrophoblast, syncytiotrophoblast, and then there is intervillous space. This intervillous space will contain maternal blood, right? So now what are type of villi? Now few villi, they are extending from, see, understand this thing. Now here this is called as decidual plate. Okay, and this is this is maternal surface, this is fetal surface. So the villi which are extending from fetal surface to the maternal surface, these are called as anchoring villi. Okay, now they go on dividing and redividing to form rami. Okay, and now the villi which are not reaching from fetal to maternal, they are called as floating villi. Simple. So these are stem villi or the anchoring villi, right? Now what is Nitabach membrane? Okay, you know that the trophoblast, it has a capacity to eat up, right? Now what happens as the development proceeds, it can we need to stop it entering into the decidua, and that is done by this Nitabach membrane. It is nothing but the cytotrophoblast which will enter and form a layer. Okay, layer of cytotrophoblastic cells with a decidua. Okay, a shell which will form or cover the decidua. It prevents excessive penetration of decidua, right? So that is Nitabach membrane. Now understand primary villi, secondary villi, and the tertiary villi. The primary villi, they will have central core of cytotrophoblast surrounded by syncytiotrophoblast. Secondary villi, they will have central core of mesoderm surrounded by cytotrophoblast, surrounded by syncytiotrophoblast, and with the development of fetal blood vessel, it will form tertiary villi. Okay, now here you can study the concept of placental barrier as well. See, the blood in between these villi, there is intervillous space. Okay, so the maternal blood is in the intervillous space and fetal blood is in the fetal blood vessels. Okay, so the placental barrier is formed from inside outwards by the cells of fetal blood vessel, its basement membrane, then mesoderm, then cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast. Understand one more concept here. The human placenta is hemochorial. Now what do we mean by hemochorial? All these are the layers of chorion, and so from fetal aspect it is chorion, and from maternal aspect it is blood, so hemochorial. Okay, then so this is the placental barrier. The layers are from inside outward: endothelium of fetal blood vessel, mesoderm, cytotrophoblast and syncytotrophoblast. As the development proceeds, what happens is this cytotrophoblast remains, and only the endothelium and the syncytotrophoblast, they form the placental barrier in the later stage of pregnancy. Now understand the importance of placental barrier. This placental barrier is selective, though it prevents entry of large molecules. Now, though it is selective, certain virus, few medications which a mother is taking, they can pass through this placenta. They can cross this barrier, and they lead to a condition called as teratogens, or such drugs are called as teratogens. So what are teratogens? These are medications which are taken by the mother. They will cross the placental barrier and affect on the fetus. They are called as teratogens. Okay. So what are the functions of placenta? See, whatever function a normal living human being is performing, like respiration, excretion, okay, then all those functions, they are digestion, all those functions, they are performed by placenta. So well established and operational is about 5th weeks after implantation. Then organ of exchange between maternal and fetal blood. It performs function of digestive system, respiratory system and kidneys for the fetus. It prevents immunological rejection. Now what is this? See, developing fetus is totally unknown cell to the mother, but in spite of that, the fetus develops normally within the uterus, and this is because of species specific reaction. Okay, species specific. So that is, it prevents the placenta and the fetus, they are foreign to the mother, so it prevents immunological rejection. Okay, it acts as a transient endocrine organ that secrete essential hormones, that is human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG. This HCG is important to maintain the corpus luteum. Now you know the corpus luteum, in case of menstruation, it remains hardly for 14 days and then it degenerates, but in pregnancy it remains longer, and till the placenta takes over the function of corpus luteum. So that is called as corpus luteum of pregnancy, and the initial one was called as corpus luteum of menstruation. Okay, the excess level of HCG is seen in hydatiform mole. So in this, so HCG level can identify the hydatiform mole. Then it also secretes estrogen and progesterone, and these two are important for the maintenance of pregnancy. Okay, so that is all for today, right? So that is all for today. We'll stop here.